The Rhodes Scholarship was created by the will of Cecil Rhodes in 1902, and it's essentially the most prominent and long-standing national scholarship and the model for many others that have come since it. So the Rhodes Scholarship gives students who recently completed an undergraduate degree the opportunity to study at the University of Oxford for 2 or 3 years, and Rhodes Scholars go and study all different sorts of subjects, everything from the humanities to the physical sciences and everything in between. And over the years, there have been many famous and prominent examples of Rhodes Scholars. The astronomer Edwin Hubble, President Bill Clinton, feminist writer Naomi Wolf, more recently, 2020 presidential candidate and current Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg. And of course, most Rhodes Scholars aren't famous people in the public eye, but go on to make important contributions in their own field throughout their career.
I applied for the Rhodes Scholarship because I felt that it was an amazing opportunity to get a more global perspective to the work I've done. A big passion of mine is global health, and I wanted to be able to connect with a lot of communities in developing nations. The Rhodes Scholarship provided me both the community of scholars from all across the world, especially in the areas that I want to work with, but also the programs that I was applying to were specifically tailored so that I would be able to take my experience in engineering and apply it to the unique challenges that are relevant in tropical medicine, which is what I was interested in.
To be a Rhodes Scholar, you get the Oxford experience and you get the camaraderie and the networking of being with your cohort of Rhodes Scholars as well as with the people that you will meet at Oxford from all over the world. And what it meant to me was a life-changing experience, and it has made me a better American.
I think the biggest difference that the Rhodes Scholarship and other national fellowships provide is the difference in the level of community and global connection that is available. In those institutions, by bringing together such a community of people where it is from all across the world and where you yourself are coming in as an outsider almost, it becomes a lot easier and a lot more open to be able to connect through that shared connection. And because of that, there's a lot more organic and genuine sharing of perspectives. And I believe that it is this with this community, and it's how everyone is able to contribute their the different way that they're brought up, the different way of thinking, the different way of approaching problems that, when put together, create something completely new and unique in that sort of environment.
So think about what service you have done, you as an applicant have done, what you plan to do, what your goals are, and use those to discriminate your application from those of all these other great people. Typically, for a given region, there will be four times as many, maybe 5 times as many nominees as there are people selected for interview. Your papers, your paper package will get you. That's what determines whether you get to the interview. Are you discriminating yourself? Do you have the basic qualities? And Rhodes is pretty clear about what their selection criteria are. Write your essay to the selection criteria. Answer the mail, answer the questions, or your package. Once you are fortunate enough to get selected for an interview, you got there, your package got you there, but you as an individual in that interview with the committee need to close the deal.
Only 32 Rhodes Scholars from the US are selected every year out of probably 1,000 or more really outstanding students that are nominated by universities. So not everybody can become a Rhodes Scholar, but as they say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I think the reasons to do it are, one, if you don't do it, you might look back and say, what if? And best case scenario, you have the opportunity to go study at Oxford and have this really unique experience. But even if you don't, I got a lot out of the process just by applying. Applying for the Rhodes Scholarship really kind of forced me to think very critically about what I wanted to do with my career and what my ultimate goals were, and be able to articulate those, which is really helpful going forward. And I learned a lot about myself through the process, and going through the process met a lot of really interesting individuals that have helped shape my life going forward.
My Rhodes Scholar days at Oxford, I call those halcyon days. Look it up in the dictionary. They were days that you look back on and with great pleasure. I got into things I never thought I would get into. Oxford students will try pretty much anything. I played French horn at the time, and we would take on some of the most difficult orchestral compositions. There are 25 to 30 colleges at Oxford. Each of them has a music society. And then there's the university orchestra, and I'm just using that by way of example. On a good, beautiful summer day, I would either watch cricket or go play croquet in the university parks on the lawns. We didn't have a lot of beautiful sunny days. There's a lot of rain in the United Kingdom. But when you had a day like that, you really used it. You were around people from all over the world, and there's a phenomenon that you have at Oxford called the common room. And the common rooms are implemented in different ways in different colleges. The college where I took my doctorate, Wolfson College, was all graduate students. And so we didn't have a junior common room and a middle common room and then a common room for the faculty. We had, little unusual for Oxford at that time, we had a common room for graduate students and faculty. And so you would go into college to eat. The food was pretty good at the graduate college compared to some of the other colleges. And you'd go in, and what would the discussion topic of the evening be? Almost certainly not your field, but maybe somebody else's field, or maybe some very interesting discovery. The years we were up at Oxford, we being my wife Fran and myself, we had a Nobel Prize winner almost every year somewhere in the university, and Oxford has a beautifully understated way of dealing with those things. They put in the college of which Professor Tinbergen was a fellow, a 3x5 note card. Typed on it, Professor Nico Tinbergen has just been awarded a Nobel Prize by the Swedish Academy. And then in red type, perhaps you should go congratulate him. And they stuck that 3x5 card on the bulletin board in the lobby next to the mail cubbies of the college. And that is, Oxford revels in that. That is a very Oxonian kind of thing in terms of understatement about excellence. Another thing that was great about being a Rhodes Scholar was the other Rhodes Scholars with whom I dealt. And they went on to very successful careers by and large in very different fields. And we still get together once or twice a year on the phone or on a Zoom or sometimes in person every few years to get together. There is every 10 years an annual reunion, every 10-year reunion of all the Rhodes Scholars in Oxford. The only year it wasn't in Oxford was 2003. We did it in South Africa, and the late, great Nelson Mandela was our guest speaker, and we held the reception at the one of the wine estates owned by the chairman of De Beers Diamonds. So the experiences go on. I mean, I've basically been speaking about how great it was to be up at Oxford. Another thing about it is that you are among people who are definitely smarter than you in different fields. And that is you learn more that way. You're challenged And you make friendships that last, well, in my case, to this present day. And those connections, upon occasion, make a difference. And so it's a wonderful network to have.
Start early. That is the biggest piece of advice I can give, the biggest piece of advice that I wish I had taken. So it's start early and begin engaging with as many of the advisors and faculty as soon as possible. I had the idea that national fellowships sound cool. Early on, I didn't really understand what it entailed until I started talking with the faculty and the advisors involved. And even then, it took a while and a lot of conversations and discussions to figure out which ones were right for me, time to do the research into which programs were correct and which ones were the best fit for me. And then collecting the application materials and actually preparing those took a lot longer than I anticipated, and especially during what is a busy and hectic time for me and a lot of students. Being able to start early is the biggest piece of advice I would give, and engaging with the faculty and being receptive to their help.
As part of the application process for the Rhodes, each applicant that is nominated by Texas A&M will need to put together a dossier. This dossier will be forwarded to the appropriate Rhodes committee. The appropriate Rhodes committee is determined by either where you live or by where your university is. So, for example, we could have a student at Harvard who lives in Texas interview with the Texas committee. Texas is a big place, and Texas itself is one of the 16 regions for the Rhodes scholarships in the United States. Each region will select 2 scholars. So part of your dossier, there's several parts. One of them is a personal essay, and you really need to think that one through as an applicant. And then you need recommendations, and you have to have a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 8. I recommend to everyone get 8, because 4 of those references need to be academic references, which speak to the ability of a nominee to succeed academically at Oxford. Those academic references, and at least 4 of them need to be this, must be from people who have taught you in a course and graded you. So, think about the professors that you have had and the professors from whom you hope, before you complete your degree at Texas A&M, you will have taken courses. 4 of those professors will need to be at least, 4 of your 8 references. For your remaining references, you can have additional academic references if you wish, but if you have discriminators in your nomination package, you want people who may not have taught you, may not be on the faculty at this university at all, may not be academics, to write about your discriminators. And that's why I recommend use all 8, because get a letter in there about a particular service activity you did, about some place where, an activity where you as a nominee for the Rhodes exhibited great leadership skills, something you've done in the international fora. Use those 3 or 4 of those 8 references to have people talk about that. When I had my dossier go together, I had a number of professors writing references. I had a military officer who knew me from my training in ROTC to talk about my training in ROTC and how I was as a cadet officer. I had people talk about professors from whom I had not taken a course talk about my activities in the university orchestra. I had the coach of our university soccer team talk about my varsity soccer career, which, by the way, was far from being an All-American, but it was a lot of fun. For the academic references, think senior people where you can. Particularly at a large state university like Texas A&M, we have many faculty who teach students, and they are excellent, excellent, excellent. And yet, you as a nominee, a student as a nominee, will be competing with, say, someone from Columbia University. And that applicant from Columbia University will have very distinguished academic references. Full professors, distinguished professors, members of national academies. And so if we at Texas A&M put forth a nominee whose letters are all from extremely good, more junior faculty, and our candidate is viewed dossier-wide as being equal to the student from Columbia, who do you think is going to get the nod? The student from Columbia will get the nod. So, at least 4 professors who have taught you and graded you, senior professors. Oh, by the way, if one of them has a degree from Oxford, that would be a good idea too, because they can speak knowledgeably about what it takes to succeed there, because they did. If you have a letter writer who is a Rhodes Scholar, all the better. Letter writers who are Rhodes Scholars, and I just wrote a letter for a nominee this year, are required to list what they do with the Rhodes community, if they have any positions there, when they were a Rhodes Scholar, as a paragraph at the end of their letter of support.
Imposter syndrome is something that was a big thing for me, especially when I got to the interview stage for the Rhodes Scholarship. When I saw the names of the people that were interviewing, and once I got to meet them originally, I was awestruck. I was genuinely scared about all the people that were there and the amazing things that I had done. When I got to talking with them at the social event beforehand, it really all went away. We were all in-day students around the same age who were just doing the things we were interested in, and we'd all worked in such different areas that we could genuinely each be considered to the extent at our age and our experience level that we were experts in our area. So it was recognizing that regardless of maybe this applicant has an entire Wikipedia page, it was that I've also done a lot of things. I've done things that are important to me, and at the end of the day, I'm here as well. That people have seen potential in me, and more importantly, I believe I can do it. That was able to get me through. And everyone's applying. Everyone in the process has imposter syndrome. We were all talking about it at our interview afterwards, that we saw each other and were so intimidated. And I think hearing that it was a universal experience, that everyone felt that way, really makes it feel a lot better that everyone has this experience.
Essentially, being a Rhodes Scholar means you have the opportunity to study at the University of Oxford for 2 or 3 years. It's a very prestigious award, but much more than that, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to go study at one of the world's oldest and most preeminent universities. It's the opportunity to be part of this really accomplished group of other students and scholars. And it's a lot of responsibility too, because many Rhodes Scholars have gone on to do great things. So certainly when I became a Rhodes Scholar, I had a renewed sense of responsibility, and it really made me want to make the most of my time at Oxford and the most of my career after that.